Welcome to Garage Gym Athlete Cool Downs. These episodes are short, actionable podcasts pulled from previous interviews and content we've been publishing for the last several years. So go for a walk, hop on the rower, or clip into the bike for this cool down episode.
Yeah, so the one that probably is most useful or that people can use regardless of what type of training they do is something that I learned from my time as a baseball player, but I didn't realize what I was doing until I started studying habits. So here's what happened. With baseball, you play a lot of games. So in college, we're playing, 40 games over the span of 2 months or so. And so coaches are always saying things like, you got to find a way to be up to play today. You got to find a way to be motivated. You got to find a way to be ready to go. And naturally, if you're playing that many games, you're playing 6 games a week or whatever, there are going to be some days where you show up and you just don't feel like playing. You're not motivated. You're not, primed and ready to go. So what I did was I figured out this way, or I developed this pregame routine that I would go through no matter what I felt like when I showed up at the ballpark. So I would do a certain series of stretches out by the foul pole, then I'd run across the outfield, do some more stretches, jog back. I'd do a series of throws from like the same distances and then move back and, just the same sequence. It took about 15 or 20 minutes to get through this whole thing. And what happened was it became a habit and a routine or this sort of ritual that I did in the beginning. And it acted like a switch in my brain where it said, hey, remember the last time we did this? It's time to play now. And so I was able to trigger like the game mode in my brain by doing this ritual the same way each time. And if you pay attention, you'll see athletes and performers in all different areas doing this type of thing. Like if you watch basketball players, they'll often do the same type of sequence before they shoot a free throw. They all have their own little pattern of 3 dribbles, spin the ball, touch your side, and then shoot or something like that, right? They all have their little ritual. And comedians, you often hear about them reciting the same type of story to themselves before they go onto stage or something like that. There's any type of performer, they all kind of develop their own little ritual. The reason why rituals are important is because they act like an on-ramp for your behavior. So what I mean is that oftentimes, like say you get home from work and you don't feel like you have the motivation or the willpower to go work out. You just don't feel up for it, the same way that a baseball player might not feel up for the game that day. If you have a ritual that you go through each time before you work out, so say you get home, you want to go for a run, you don't feel like it, but your typical ritual is you pull the water bottle out of the pantry, you go ahead and fill that up with some water and ice, you put it on the counter, you grab your keys, you put it next to the water bottle, you get your bag out of the closet and set it by the front door, and then you put your shoes on and you tie your shoes. If you do that ritual in the same way, the same pattern every time, then even if you don't feel motivated to work out, you can get your ritual started because you almost start doing it just automatically. You're not even really relying on willpower or motivation to do it at this point once you've done it enough times. And at this point, you're not even worried about working out. You don't have to focus on working out. You don't even have to run a step. All you have to do is put your energy into starting the ritual. That's the only thing that you think about is how can I start that ritual? How can I get the water bottle out of the pantry, right? Let me do the first step. And what often happens is that as you're doing the ritual, it acts like that on-ramp for your behavior that I had with baseball. It acts like that switch in your brain where it says, all right, remember the last time you ran? You enjoyed that when you were done. You were glad you did it. You felt good about yourself, right? All these feelings start coming through the ritual. And so that would be the one thing that I would say to focus on when it comes to building habits, regardless of what the training is. What's your pregame routine? What's your ritual? What's the on-ramp for your behavior? How can you make that process as automatic as possible so that when you're not feeling like working out, when you don't feel like doing whatever it is you need to do that day, you can just put all your energy into starting the ritual and trust that motivation will come after starting, not before.
Thanks for listening to today's Cool Down. If for some ridiculous reason you are not subscribed to Garage Gym Athlete Programming, fix that problem right now. Go to garagegymathlete.com, sign up for a free trial, get started with us today. Thanks for listening.